These values didn't just fill up space on our website. I expected every leader in the company to understand, to model, and to promote these values within their teams. Welcome to Moments with Marty, your short, sharp shot of leadership insight to help you stay on track between our weekly episodes of the No Bullshit Leadership podcast. Now, today's moment is inspired by an article that Denise Lee Yohn had published in Harvard Business Review several years ago. It was titled, "Ban These 5 Words from Your Corporate Values." And look, I defy anyone to read that headline and not feel compelled to read the article, so well done to the sub-editors at HBR. Yohn drew on research from hundreds of companies, finding that 90% of all corporate value statements have the words ethical or integrity somewhere in the mix. 88% of value statements mention the customer, and 76% mention either teamwork or trust. So, going straight for the punchline, what are the 5 words that you should never use in a value statement? Well, the first is ethical or integrity. Now, according to Yohn, this should be a given. Why would you draw attention to it? It's a good thing I'm standing up to record this, otherwise I'd be shifting uncomfortably in my chair at this point. One of the 4 values that I implemented at CS Energy was act with integrity. Now, the values I set were all couched as imperative statements, of course. You probably know me well enough to understand why. The reason for having integrity in the values mix was that it was one of the big problems that was holding the company back culturally. Lack of integrity was a huge problem in some parts of the business. The second word that you should ban is teamwork. Just common sense to not include this in Yohn's estimation. The third word is authentic. Now, I couldn't agree more. You can't claim to be authentic. You either are or you aren't. Your customers, suppliers, regulators, and shareholders, they're the ones who are going to be the judge of that. The fourth word is fun. Apparently, if you have fun as a value, you're trying too hard. And as the logic goes, if you have to say it, then you probably aren't. And finally, customer-oriented. Well, guess what? If you're not, you won't last too long in business. This should also be a given. Now, the bottom line for me is, if you're ever in a position to provide input into your company's values, then think about why you're doing it. In my opinion, the values of an organisation should reflect and describe the culture that the chief executive and the board are trying to create. At CS Energy, when I recast the values in 2013, I chose the things that I deemed to be the most essential focal points to take the company forward. So there were only 4 values: be safe, create value, take accountability, and act with integrity. These values didn't just fill up space on our website. I expected every leader in the company to understand, to model, and to promote these values within their teams. In many organisations, the true culture is very, very different from the stated company values. The only way you find out, though, is when you're on the inside looking out, not the outside looking in. When I give keynote speeches and I ask for a show of hands, less than 50% of any audience can clearly state what their company's values even are. And less than 10% believe that the company values are a true reflection of the way that things actually work. I've even seen teams inside companies develop their own values because they feel so disconnected from the broader company values. How well do you identify with your company's values? For more depth on this insight, listen to episode 10 of the No Bullshit Leadership podcast. Are company values meaningless? We'll leave a link in the notes. I really hope you enjoyed this moment and that it gives you that extra little spark to be a no bullshit leader.